Our objectives in this lesson are to illustrate the measures of central tendency and calculate the measures of central tendency for group data. Let's have a quick review of our previous lesson. Laptop Inc. sells 5 brands of laptops. Refer to the pictograph below. Each picture of laptop here is equal to 10 laptops. Number 1. Solve for the mean number of laptops sold. To answer this, we have to determine the number of laptops sold per brand. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 10. This is 60. 1, 2, 3, 4 times 10 is 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 10 is 90. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 10 is 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 10 is 80. And then we're going to add all of this. 60 plus 40 is 100. 100 plus 90 is 190. 190 plus 50 is 240. 240 plus 80 is 320. And then we're going to divide this by the total number of observations. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 brands. 320 divided by 5 is equal to 64. So the mean number of laptops sold is 64. Number 2, determine the median. To answer this, we have to arrange this in a particular order, either ascending or descending. Let me arrange this in ascending order. 40, 50, 60, 80, and 90. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Round up, 3. We're going to get the third number. 1, 2, 3. So the median is 60. Last one. Which brand has the highest sales? Highest sales is Lenovo. Let us have another one. Phoebe is aiming to be an honor student. What honor will she qualify for based on her grades? So here are the Academic Excellence Awards with highest honors from 98 to 100 average, with high honors 95 to 97 average, with honors 90 to 94 average. To answer the question, we have to get the average grade of Phoebe. To do that, we have to sum up her grades. 96 plus 95 plus 93 plus 93 plus 94 plus 96 plus 93 plus 93. And this is equal to 753. We consider all the subjects of Phoebe and its corresponding grade. So we're talking about the population. So our formula would be mu is equal to summation of x all over capital N. Summation of x is the sum of her grades, and that is equal to 753, while n is the total number of observations. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 subjects, so divided by 8. 753 divided by 8 is equal to 94.125, or 94 and 125 thousandths. And this average belongs to 90 to 94, so Phoebe is qualified for with Honors Academic Excellence Award. Today, we will be talking about measures of central tendency for group data. Let's have the first one, the mean. Our formula is x bar is equal to summation of fx all over n, where x bar is the mean, x here is the class mark or midpoint, f is the frequency, n is the total frequency. Summation of fx is the sum of the product of frequency and midpoint. Let's have an example. Let us consider this table. Let us solve for the mean. For the mean, we are going to need additional 2 columns. Those are for the class mark, denoted with the small letter x, and f times x as the product of the frequency and the midpoint. Let us solve first for the class mark. This is just the midpoint of each class. So 5 plus 8 is equal to 13. And 13 divided by 2 is equal to 6.5. 9 plus 12 is equal to 21 divided by 2 is equal to 10.5. 13 plus 16 is 29 divided by 2 is equal to 14.5. 17 plus 20 is 37 divided by 2 is equal to 18.5. 21 plus 24 is equal to 45 divided by 2 is equal to 22.5. Now, for f times x, we simply have to multiply the frequency and the midpoint. 3 times 6.5 is 19.5. 6 times 10.5 is 63. 7 times 14.5 is 101.5. 3 times 18.5 is 55.5. 1 times 22.5 is 22.5. And then afterwards, let us get the sum of the product of the frequency and midpoint. So let us sum this up, and this will give us 262. This is now the summation of f times x. Let us recall our formula. So x bar is equal to the summation of fx over n. So this is equal to summation of fx is 262. And then n is the total frequency. So we have to add the frequencies. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. And 19 plus 1 is equal to 20. This is our n. So divided by 20. 262 divided by 20 is equal to 13.1. Now let us have the median for group data. Here is our formula, where LCB sub MDN is the lower class boundary of the median class. N is the total frequency. Less than CF is the cumulative frequency of the next lower class from the median class. F sub MDN is the frequency of the median class, and I is the class width. Now, we have to determine first the median class. And the median class is the class containing the less than cumulative frequency that is equal or closest but higher than the half of the number of observations. Let's have an example. Let us use the same table that we used earlier. This time, we're going to need again 2 additional columns for class boundaries and less than cumulative frequencies. Class boundaries are very easy to determine. Simply subtract 0.5 from the lower limit and add 0.5 to the upper limit. So 5 minus 0.5 is 4.5. 8 plus 0.5 is 8.5. So we have 4.5 to 8.5. So this will be 9 minus 0.5 is 8.5, and 12 plus 0.5 is 12.5. So 8.5 to 12.5. This one will become 12.5 to 16.5. This one is 16.5 to 20.5. This one is 20.5 to 24.5. For the less than cumulative frequency, we always start at the lowest class interval. So our lowest class interval is 5 to 8. We simply have to copy the frequency here to here. Then we add the next frequency. 3 plus 6 is equal to 9. 9 plus 7 is equal to 16. 16 plus 3 is equal to 19. 19 plus 1 is equal to 20. You will know that your less than cumulative frequency is correct if your last value is equal to the total number of frequency. Now, let us recall our formula. Before we substitute values, let us determine first our median class. Again, the median class is the class containing the less than cumulative frequency that is equal or closest but higher than half of the number of observations. Our number of observation is 20, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. The closest number to 10 is 9, but 9 is not higher than 10. So we should look for a higher number closest to half of the number of observation, and that would be 16. So this is our median class. So this will be equal to lower class boundary of the median class, and that is 12.5. Then we have plus, open bracket. Our n is 20, so this will be 20 divided by 2. Then we have minus, less than cumulative frequency is the cumulative frequency of the next lower class from the median class. So this is the next lower class, 9 to 12. So we're going to choose 9 for the less than cumulative frequency. Divided by the frequency of the median class. The frequency of the median class is 7. So divided by 7. Then close bracket. I is the class width. To determine the class width, simply subtract 2 consecutive lower limits or 2 consecutive upper limits. Example, 21 minus 17 is 4. 17 minus 13 is also 4. 20 minus 16 is 4. 16 minus 12 is also 4. Or if you want, you can also count from the lower limit up to the higher limit. Let's have an example. 21 to 24. So that would be 21, 22, 23, 24. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our class width, I, is equal to 4. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. So you have 4 divided by 7. And then add 12.5. And that will give you 13.07. This is our median. The last one is the mode for group data. Here is our formula, where LCB sub MO is the lower class boundary of the modal class. D sub 1 is the highest frequency minus the frequency of the next lower class to the modal class. D sub 2 is the highest frequency minus the frequency of the next upper class to the modal class. And again, I is the class width. Now, how do we determine the modal class? The modal class is the class with the highest frequency. Let's have an example. Let's use the same table. There is no need to add additional columns to determine the mode of the group data. Let us recall our formula. So before we substitute anything, let us determine first our modal class. And our modal class is the class containing the highest frequency. And the highest frequency here is 7. So this is our modal class. So this will be equal to lower class boundary of the modal class. So 13 minus 0.5 is 12.5. Then we have plus, open bracket. D sub 1 again is the highest frequency minus the frequency of the next lower class from the modal class. So this is the next lower class, 9 to 12. So this will be our D1. 7 minus 6 is equal to 1. Divided by, let's copy the value, D1 again. And then we have plus. Next is D2. D2 is the highest frequency minus the frequency of the next upper class from the modal class. So this is the next upper class, 17 to 20. So this will be our D2. 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. Close bracket. Again, our class width, you can count 21, 22, 23, 24, or 24 minus 20. So this is equal to 4. 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 divided by 5 and then add 12.5. That is equal to 13.3. This is our mode. Quick tips. Mean is commonly referred to as the average of all values. Median is the middle value in a set of data arranged in ascending or descending order. Mode is the one that appears the most. Measures of central tendency are statistical measures for determining the center of a data set. Now, it is time to check your understanding. Pause this video for more time. Let us answer, solve for the mean, median, and the mode. On the right is the frequency distribution of the scores of 50 students on their periodic examination in mathematics. So here is the frequency distribution. Let us solve first for the mean. So again, for the mean, we need two additional columns, the class mark or midpoint, and the product of the frequency times the midpoint. So for the class mark, 77 plus 83 divided by 2 is equal to 80. 70 plus 76 divided by 2 is 73. 63 plus 69 divided by 2 is 66. 56 plus 62 divided by 2 is 59. 49 plus 55 divided by 2 is 52. 42 plus 48 divided by 2 is 45. 35 plus 41 divided by 2 is 38. And 28 plus 34 divided by 2 is 31. This is actually the midpoint of these two numbers. Now, for f times x, let us get the product of the frequency times the midpoint. 2 times 80 is 160. 8 times 73 is 584. 7 times 66 is 462. 7 times 59 is 413. 12 times 52 is 624. 6 times 45 is 270. 6 times 38 is 228. 2 times 31 is 62. Then let us sum this up, and this will give us 2,803. This is the summation of f times x. Let us also sum up our frequencies, and this will give us 50. Now let's have our formula. X bar is equal to summation of fx over n. Let us substitute the values. Summation of fx is 2,803 divided by our n is 50. And this is equal to 56.06. Now let us solve for the median. I added additional column here for less than cumulative frequency. We're going to start with the lowest class interval, and that is 28 to 34. The frequency is 2. We simply have to copy it here. And then we're going to add the next frequency. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. 14 plus 12 is 26. 26 plus 7 is 33. 33 plus 7 is 40. 40 plus 8 is 48, and 48 plus 2 is 50. And this is equal to our total frequency. Let's have our formula. Let us identify first our median class. Again, that is the class containing the less than cumulative frequency that is closest but higher than half of the total number of observations. So our total number of observation is 50. Half of 50 is 25. The closest to 25, that is higher to it, is 26. So this will be our median class. So this will be equal to lower class boundary of the median class. The lower class boundary of this, simply subtract 0.5. 49 minus 0.5 is 48.5. Plus, open bracket, our n is 50. So this will be 50 divided by 2. Minus less than cumulative frequency. This is the frequency of the next lower class from the median class. The next lower class to 49 to 55 is 42 to 48. So we are going to consider this frequency. Then divided by the frequency of the median class. The frequency of the median class is 12. Close bracket. Our I, we simply have to subtract two consecutive lower or upper limits. 48 minus 41 is 7. 42 minus 35 is also 7. Or you can count from 28 to 34. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. And that is still 7. So our I is 7. Computing this in a calculator, this will give us 54.92. Last one, the mode. Let us recall our formula. Let us identify first the model class. The model class is the class containing the highest frequency. The highest frequency here is 12, so this is our model class. So this will be equal to lower class boundary of the model class. Lower class boundary, 49 minus 0.5 is 48.5. Plus, open bracket, D sub 1 is the highest frequency minus the frequency of the next lower class. The next lower class to 49 to 55 is 42 to 48. So this is our D1. 12 minus 6 is equal to 6. Divided by, let us copy D sub 1, that is 6. And then we have here plus. D sub 2 is the highest frequency minus the frequency of the next upper class. The next upper class from the modal class is 56 to 62. So this will be our D sub 2. 12 minus 7 is equal to 5. Close bracket. Our I, let's simply subtract 48 minus 41 is 7. So this is times 7. Computing this in a calculator, this will give us 52.32. Gets? Our next topic is measures of variability for ungrouped data.